This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, all. Welcome tonight to our meeting. If you're somewhere in the Midwest, you probably have a bunch of snow. My name is Kim. I live in Des Moines, Iowa. Currently on Ocrevus, relapsing remitting, diagnosed in 2012. And let's go next to Andrea. Introduce yourself and let us know if you
Hello.
want some time to chat.
I am Andrea. I was diagnosed with relapsing MS in 2012. I live in the North Carolina Outer Banks. We got tons of wind going on out there tonight. Uh, no, I don't think I need time. I'm just tired and I got a lot of work drama going on.
Okay. Well, chime in when you need to. Thanks for
Okay.
coming in tonight. Glad that you made it. Frank, welcome. Introduce yourself and let us know if you need time tonight.
My name is Frank Austin. I was diagnosed in 1997, but I've had it since 1982. I'm on absolutely nothing. I had secondary progressive MS, and I would like to speak about a couple of things tonight. So, if you don't mind.
Thanks, Frank. Sherry, welcome. Introduce yourself and let us know if you need time tonight.
Did you say me?
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm speaking
Okay,
really fast tonight. I
that's
apologize.
okay.
It's the
Sherry,
steroids.
Sherry from Gaylord, Michigan.
What would you like to know about Sherry from church?
Um, my
When were you
story came up
diagnosed, Sherry?
2008, relapsing, remitting, and I'm on medication. And I would like some time tonight, please.
Okay, great. Thanks for coming, Sherry. Good to see you.
Yeah.
John, welcome. Introduce yourself and let us know if you need time tonight.
Yeah, hi, I'm John. I'm from western mid Michigan under the snowstorm, and I am on Zeposia, and I was diagnosed with relapsing remitting in 2016. And I just want to say, Jennifer, I've missed you, so it's good to see you back. I don't need any
Hmm.
time, but I'll probably chime in with stuff.
Okay, great. Thank you, John. Marlo, welcome.
Uh,
Introduce yourself and let us know if you need time tonight.
Marlo from Michigan, onset 97, diagnosed in April of 22, started Tecfidera in 7 of 22, and I do not need time.
Okay, thank you so much. And last but not least so far, Big Red, aka Jennifer. Welcome back. Introduce yourself and let
Hello.
us know if you need time tonight.
Maybe, I don't know. Jennifer, I have relapse remitting. I'm back on Aubagio, and I was diagnosed 2019 in April, and I'm from Richmond, Indiana.
Need time tonight?
Yeah, probably, yes.
Probably. Okay. And Karen just got online. Karen, welcome. Introduce yourself and let us know if you need time tonight.
I don't see any of you. I seem to be frozen.
We see you.
We and we can hear you.
Yep,
Yes.
so go ahead. Yep,
You
you're
see
moving your
me?
hand
Am
all
I
around.
moving?
You're moving.
No, I don't see anything. Uh, and I'm trying to get in on my tablet, so I'm Karen. I'm frustrated. Can you
Did you
double?
need time?
Well, I can't
What?
even turn the mic off.
Did you need time tonight, Karen, to talk?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Can I
Yeah.
just say I like Marlo and Frank's symptom onset versus diagnosis dates. That was kind of fun.
Oh, okay. My symptom
Oh, but
onset was 2001, diagnosed 2012.
I was symptom onset probably in the 80s, late 80s, and diagnosed 2012.
What part of it was fun?
That's
Good.
kind of like,
Well, I would
fun,
acknowledge
not
the fun part.
fun, but fun.
All right,
Not
let's
funny, haha. Just funny.
let's jump to Carmen. Welcome, Carmen. We got the international crowd with us tonight. Please introduce yourself and let us know if you need time tonight.
You betcha. Hello, it's Carmen from Canada. Sorry I'm late. It's just always a struggle on my iPad. You'd think I'd get used to this. But anyway, hi, everyone. Yeah, I'd like a little bit of time, please.
Okay,
And don't mind my
great.
in the background. I haven't undecorated yet.
It's okay. We're just happy you're here. I'm just happy everyone made it tonight. So let's go ahead and kickstart it off with Frank here.
Okay, well, like I said, we had a blizzard yesterday, and I've got a 4 foot snow drift across my driveway. So it kind of slows things down. And I can't get out there and shovel it, so I got to wait and get somebody to come over. It'll be my nephew. He'll come and bail me out. Uh, Beyond that, on Christmas Day, believe it or not, I fell 3 times
Oh no.
and I could not get up. And the first 2 times, I was able to call my nephew twice and get him to come over and get me up. And the third time, I had to call the paramedics, and the police came, and they got me up and took care of me. But as a result, everybody was on my case because I didn't have my phone with me when I fell. And I was on the ground for an hour before I got to my phone
Oh,
Oh.
every time.
oh,
Mm.
So everybody said to Frank, get a smartwatch so that you can connect to your phone
yeah.
even when even
Yay!
I did the smart thing and I got the smartwatch. And hey, I'm better off now than I was 2 weeks ago. What can you say?
But those would have been tough hours to spend, Frank.
No, not really. I knew what it was. I didn't
What
have
was
any.
it? What was it?
What was it? I was
Yeah.
just out of gas. I was just out of gas. I was tired. I'd been at it too long and going too much, and I just crashed.
Were you not in the chair?
I was transferring from one chair to the other, and I went down on the floor in between the two, and I could not get it. And I did it not once, not twice, 3 times.
Oh. Did you just say to yourself, I cannot believe this is happening again as you went down the third time, Frank?
You know, I usually say to myself, okay, let me get pissed and I'll get up out of here. It was to the point where I couldn't get pissed anymore. It was just, I was, I was beat. I lost. But
Yeah.
what can you say? You
Uh-huh.
know,
And how did the paramedics get in the house? Or you don't have to worry about locking your doors?
I live in Western Kansas. We don't lock doors.
Well, I can relate, Frank. I feel for you, man.
What can I say? Yeah, I've fallen before, but there usually been 6 or 7 or 8 months in between. 3 times in one day, it's too much.
I'm glad you're proactive and now have something attached to you that you can call for help. Because it's only good as if you can reach it, to call for help. So I'm really
It's like,
grateful that you took the technology dive into the smartwatch world.
yeah, I used to say I've always got my cell phone with me, but I didn't. In any case, I did not have my cell phone where I could get to it easily. That's
Have you
horrible.
Did you play the lottery that night?
No, obviously I would not have won.
Are there other safety things that you've kind of put into place too, Frank, like in addition to the smartwatch for yourself?
Yeah, I don't worry about. I don't worry about myself too much. I'm still an independent guy. I still live alone. I still take care of myself. And that was the exception. And as a result, I did something to at least be able to connect to the telephone whenever I go down.
Yeah. But
You
you
know, I
probably
was wondering,
lessons just about ergonomics and what not to do when you're tired too, right? Like you've got some experience on that side of things now.
Oh, sure.
because you really don't talk about the wheelchair, and Carmen and I are very interested in wheelchairs these days, and John, and so
I'm in
it,
mine.
I can tell. So, yeah, I mean, I was wondering when you or Jen, the other Jen, not this Jennifer, when you because for me it's been pretty quick, and I noticed certain people like they didn't have a wheelchair, then all of a sudden they have one, and like for me it's more like a slower transition. So I was just wondering how that went for you.
Oh, it took me, you know, 25, 26 years to get to the point where I had to be in a wheelchair. It was a long process from
And then
1980. Yeah.
and then did you still hobble around? Because I got outfitted for the wheelchair. That's a whole other story. But I feel like I don't know that I can wait. That it's just yeah, I noticed
It's
just
going to
even
be,
standing up in my kitchen, I'm like wobbly.
They not provide have they not even given you something to try, Karen? Like I've been talking to
Um, I'll
providers.
talk about I'll talk about that later.
Well,
But
consider
yeah,
renting something. You need something if you're feeling like that, like for safety. Anyway, sorry, I'm telling you what to
well,
do.
yeah. I mean, it's just like every time there's something new, you have to get adjusted to whatever it is. Like just everything. Like I just called my neighbor. He just left. Um, because it's just dangerous for me to even get out and get my mail because it's hanging out on the wall outside. And I had my contractor, they put in these handrails. They look ugly, but they're great because they're like right at the right spot. But even that is scary. So I found a mailbox at the Salvation Army. I mean, I could have found one anywhere, but it was like, wow, I got a lucky find there. It was like I got a bunch of stuff. And then so I called him today. I said, can you like put that mailbox on like sooner rather than later? And so he picked it up. He said, okay, I'll get it and I'll look for screws and I'll do that. Like I'm noticing having to be so proactive. And yeah, and I thought I'd go out today, and it's like, no, I'm tired. And Frank, like you say, it's that cautionary tale. Like I don't try to push myself.
Any other comments before we go on to the next person? Okay, Sherry, you're up, girl. And you're on mute, by the way.
There. I've been having painful urination. Okay, so I go to the walking clinic. They said, "Oh, your urine's fine," and so it continued for 2 days. And so I went to the hospital, and it's still happening. And I found out that I've got interstitial cystitis.
ever heard of it?
Me neither. Not
Did
really.
interstitial cystitis?
Yes, that's how you say it. Yeah, it says it's a type of bladder pain syndrome. It can be with you for life, or it can come and go, and it has a lot to do with autoimmune.
Oh, so it's something that almost like how trigeminal neuralgia affects the
Something
face,
like that,
that
yeah.
nerve pathway. This is one of the bladder ones, maybe. Hey,
I know. I was sure I had
Yeah.
a
That's a
UTI.
great way to describe it, Carmen.
Positive I had a UTI. And then they kept saying, no, your urine's clear. I'm like, I don't understand it.
so did they give you anything to manage that discomfort?
Pyridium.
Okay.
Is it helping?
I'm taking it because I just don't like medicine. Trying to get
I
by
hear ya.
without.
I would try it, see if it helps you with your pain, because I mean, be in pain or no pain, you got to weigh the side effects of being in
Yeah.
pain or having the side effects of the med.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Sherry, then like if it doesn't work, then they might need to consider like gabapentin or like a nerve control pain measure. So I don't want to diagnose or say a lot on this meeting, but it's worth it to just try it to see if it works or not. Rule it out.
I was just floored. I was just floored. I
Another
thought I
shitty
had, yeah.
symptom.
It would be really confusing to think you have a UTI, and they're like, "No, it's not a UTI. It's just
Mhm.
you have a painful bladder." You're just like, "What?" But it feels like, oh, so is it
How
really
much?
painful every time you go to the bathroom? Then is it super
Mhm.
painful? Oh,
Like,
girl, don't make yourself be in pain like that.
but unless I drink a lot, but then it's like make it to the bathroom in time, you know.
Yeah.
And do you? But when
There's
you
a
have
fine
a UTI,
line. Pardon?
isn't there usually a smell or like it looks funny, cloudy? The urine looks.
No.
Not always.
I lost all the normal UTI symptoms years ago. I don't get pain. I don't get blood anymore. I don't get urgency anymore. I get none of that.
Yeah, I don't get that, but there is a smell and certain turbidity, as they called it, to all of my samples. So
We're really having
And
quite
turbidity meaning cloudy.
just like cloudiness.
A quick
well,
question,
Sherry.
Sherry.
It
Have you
gets
seen the pelvic floor physical therapist at all, Sherry, to help with all that stuff?
No, I got to see the doctor Monday, and I had to see a urologist, and I have to get a referral.
See if they can
And
hook you up with a pelvic floor physical therapist.
yeah,
They did wonders for me like 3 years ago.
I was looking up online, and they do use pelvic floor therapists for,
oh
how do
good.
you say it, Karen?
Oh,
Interstitial.
interstitial cystitis.
Okay.
Thank you, Karen.
Yeah.
Say it 3 times fast. Interstitial cystitis. Interstitial.
But don't be afraid to ask for that referral, because when I saw my neurologist, like, he says, I don't usually do that. I'm like, a third to half of your patients have, incontinence issues. That should be like number one that you work on. But he did it. I said, no, I really want to go see it. And he's like, okay. So he did the referral for me. But I had to be like, this is what I want. So don't be afraid to be your own advocate and go, look, I really want to check this out. Other people I know have had good luck with this. Let me just see if this helps. And it's drug free. If you don't like taking drugs, that's a great way to get help without having to use drugs. Or maybe you can just have a lower dose or not have to do drugs as much. So just think of it that way.
It does only address that, like the incontinence or control issue. It's still not going to help with the sensations that you have, unfortunately. But
No, but it could help in, how things are all interworking. It can.
yeah. Oh yeah, I'm not saying it won't. It's just that
Mhm.
that's not the main target. But anyway, I hope
And
it
then if
helps.
she feels better about getting to the bathroom on time, she's going to be more open to drinking more fluids, and so that could help quality of life too. So
More water is always good.
Unless you got to keep going to the bathroom.
Mhm.
Even then,
There's a fine line, between drinking enough and making it to the bathroom. I don't know.
I know.
Yeah.
Trust me, I know.
the pelvic floor physical therapist, got me to like try to extend out to like go to the bathroom like every 3 hours, because she nailed me on I was doing too much just in case peeing, and I needed to knock it out, because then I was training my bladder to not do well when it got fuller, because I'm like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. So that was one thing that had to get trained out of myself, to like stop the just in case peeing,
They did
hold it
they
out a
did
little bit longer.
they did a bladder scan after I had gone, and I had 10 milliliters.
Residual.
But yeah,
Which is really good. That's really
it
good for
is.
emptying. Yeah,
I
that's really
thought
good.
10 milliliters was quite a bit.
No, that's real small. That's super
Okay.
small. Hmm No, that's like 2 teaspoons.
Oh, it is.
That's
Yeah,
all. That's the 10 mils, just 2 teaspoons. That's all it is. That's very good.
pretty good. You figured that out that quickly. I'd like, okay, 10. I mean, I
And
know
it,
10
Yeah.
I
cc's is
had to
not a
do those
lot.
conversions for years for work. I used to be like,
So did I. But,
one
you know,
so
teaspoon,
did I.
5 milliliters.
I did too, and it just slipped my mind. I didn't even know. I'm like, 10 milliliters. She goes, no, it's okay. I'm like,
I know
really?
such
is 10
metric.
mil 100 cc's? No, no.
Yeah.
Right?
Cubic centimeters equals milliliters. Yes, us Americans that don't have metric as their normal route, um, we have to think about these things.
Oh, there's Canadians that don't use metric.
We use both.
The older we are, the worse we are.
Yep. Yep. Well, it was introduced when my parents were just in school. So they grew up all their life until they were, I think I just heard this on CBC radio today. I think it was around, I don't know, I'd be guessing, but some mid-teenager year is when it changed. So then in school, they started being taught metric, but they had been on imperial up until then. So that's my grandparents, that's my parents. So I grew up with both, just naturally. It just was the way it
Gotcha.
was.
Wait,
Yeah,
which is imperial? You or us? Like,
we're
Us.
metric.
We're
huh?
imperial.
We're
The rest of the
imperial?
world, yeah, the rest of the world is metric.
Yeah,
we're the
the rest of
we're
the
the
world
weird ones.
is
No,
metric.
Even
that I
Imperial
know.
England is metric.
That I know, but I would go to Europe every once or twice a week, and it's like, what's the temperature where you are? Because like people are in Germany, and they're going, it's really cold here, and I was outside in the sun. I said, well, people are complaining it's cold here. It's the sky's blue and the sun is out. So then I couldn't. Then they were, and then I forgot because I used to live in metric, so I did understand, but I couldn't remember what's 24. And they're like, yeah, 24. There's a guy from South Africa. He goes, yeah, it's 24 here. I'm like, I forgot what 24 is, but that's a good
There is a
number.
Hot.
hilarious skit that came out a couple months ago on SNL talking. It's a comedian, I forgot his name. He's acting as George Washington, and he talks about in this new world. And he talks about all the weird measurements and temperature, and it's hilarious talking about.
Probably one of the best skits of all time.
Oh my God,
Oh wow.
it is a riot. You have to
What
Google
is it
George
called?
Washington. Google George Washington skit SNL, and I can't remember the comedian's name. Marla, do you remember the guy? He's like in his 40s.
No,
Yeah,
what you said,
those
that'll get you where you need to go.
Yeah, do that.
absolutely.
It is hilarious. And then he's like, Keenan's character's asking, well, what about slavery? And he's like, you asked about temperature. And he said, I did not. And it's hilarious. It is so good. And it's like, so what's the
100% checking it
equivalent
out.
for 1,000 pounds, sir? If 2,000 is a ton, we don't have one in this great new country.
I
It's
mean,
great.
the
And Kim, it
Imperial.
was Mary Catherine Gallagher from way back earlier today. It was Mary Catherine Gallagher.
Oh, okay. We had a conversation earlier about stuff.
I mean,
Thank you,
Imperial
Ann.
units don't use pounds. They use stone, which a stone is around 7.5
17
pounds.
pounds. 17
Right.
pounds is a
Oh,
stone.
17.
Yeah, I
I
think
got the
it's more.
7 right. I got the 7 right.
Oh, anyway.
But
Any other?
they also use the kilogram. So is it Washington's Dream Saturday Night Live, or George
That's correct.
Washington Has Big
Yes,
Dreams?
Yeah, that's it.
Washington's Dream. Yes, and it was probably done in December or November of last year. Watch that. It's
October
hilarious.
28th to be exact. But
Yeah, it
that's
is.
pretty
Right.
close.
Watch that if you want a good laugh. Anything else that we want to talk about with Sherry's before we go on to the next person?
I just want to clarify, did they say there's no treatment for it?
Referral to a urologist.
Oh, the conveyor belt. Yeah, I know that. Get on the conveyor belt.
Well, I'm glad you're gonna get more
Carmen,
specialized help.
Carmen, you're not.
Oh, good. That kept me quiet for a little bit anyway. Sorry, guys. Sorry,
I'm sorry I said something.
I feel like I've been just talking nonstop, and I apologize if I've been too intrusive.
No, great
Anyway,
girl. You're great. It's Big
anyway,
Red over here that's being super loud tonight. Jeez, she just
I
will not
know,
be
I
quiet
know.
over there.
I'd like to hear you snorting over there in laughter, Jennifer. I know I can see you.
Well, she's speaking next, so if we're done with Sherry's, we'll move on to Big Red and she can fill us
Oh,
up on the world.
sorry, what I was saying is that it might be a conveyor belt, Karen, but you have to you have to speak to the specialist in your whatever area of the body that you need, right? So you won't get much done just with a general doc like MD
No,
unless you
that's for sure. That's for sure. But I mean,
so.
I'm in a real conveyor belt system. So the urologist did refer me to the pelvic floor therapist. I know I've told this before, but it's pretty, I was just, because it's unique, the incontinence for MS. It's for both, actually, or for impaction. So that urologist, she was really great, and she referred me to the pelvic floor therapist, and she said, well, she can help with the constipation, and what she'll do is they'll hook you up to biofeedback in your anus to help with the bowel. I was like, I didn't sign up for that. It just cracks me up. It's like, sure, just get on that conveyor belt now. Everybody wants little electrodes in their anus.
Pass.
So
Well,
we didn't
haven't
have to
you?
go there, but I did hear from the pelvic floor therapist, and she did pelvic floor, urinary thing, and she said, no, 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 we don't need to do that. I was like, thank you.
Well, has it come across your guys' Facebook feed for women? That's something you can insert into vaginal and you squeeze, and it's like a game, so you learn to contract. And have you seen that? I can't remember what it's called.
I'll keep my eyes open.
Kegel
I,
exercise.
it's like a Kegel exercise. Yeah, yeah. But it's actually it just comes like of course. I'll go on my Facebook tonight, and because I talked about it, it'll be on there. But yeah,
Notice, notice I knew what that was.
yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
give me credit.
I was
No,
wondering,
no.
Frank, like, good job, Frank.
Can you spell Kegels?
Not that hard.
I wouldn't
Okay.
even try.
Kegel.
I think it's Keigel, isn't it?
See, that's why it was a test for Frank.
But whenever I heard the term Kegel, I also think about like Kegel sausages, like the hot dogs that are here in Michigan. And I just hear that name, I'm like, I don't want that hot dog brand anymore.
Those are Kogels.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Well, I was glad I could share about the biofeedback because everybody else is just horrified. And I mean, it's horrifying, but it's also
I've
funny. These things that we get put on, like, here, try
I've heard
this.
I've heard great results for biofeedback, not that particular way, but I've heard biofeedback in general can be an amazing tool. So
So did the urologist. Stay in your lane, urologist.
just like if you have C. diff, don't knock fecal transplants, man. That's how you get a cure of C. diff. So
Well, I've heard that for MS. A friend told me that when I was originally diagnosed, that she would do that. And that particular friend's a coffee addict and has all these neuroses. And I mean, she's very into healthy stuff. And then it's like, okay, let's just say I wanted to do it. Whose specimen should I ask? Like,
I think they normally have just normal people set up for it that they've already have because there's other stuff
oh,
that you can get.
Kim,
I
I
had
live
a
in
I had a
California. Kim, I live in
I
California. They'll
know.
just
I
find
had a
normal
friend of
people.
a
Oh,
I had a
okay.
friend's brother that had to get it done last year. He's paraplegic and he had C. diff and he kept getting admitted and they finally had to do fecal transplants on
Did
him.
it work?
Yeah.
What a relief, hey?
I
Yeah.
mean, wouldn't it be great for
Life
MS? I mean, I
changing.
think they're doing studies on that. They actually are, because I heard from UCSF and they said they were looking for
But this is to treat
they're
his
doing
not his being a paraplegic. It was treating his C. diff
yeah.
infection.
Hmm.
Well, being a
Just want to make
paraplegic,
sure.
that's same as MS, but I
Yeah, but
mean,
the
has
gut has a
anybody else,
lot to do with the immune system. A
yeah, has
lot to do
anybody
with
else
it.
heard about that though? That
I
fecal
have.
transplant?
I heard them talking about it, but then it's like the conversation just stopped. I feel like forever I haven't heard anything in like a couple of years. I don't
I've
know.
never heard this.
And
We're
you're
talking
right,
fecal
Andrea. That's when
transplant
I
or
wrote,
treatment
I,
of MS.
I've not heard it for MS. That's a new one for me, but
I actually think it came from Rick, but you know, it's coming from this brain. I think Rick referred us to somebody who was doing a study, just different people. And I did hear back from the UCSF people, but you know, I don't think they like 70-year-old fecal samples anyway. But yeah, so like Andrea disappeared, but it was a few years ago. So
I just want to know, do you get to meet the person, like the transplant person? Like, you know what? I just want
Here,
to look you in the eyes and shake your hand and thank you for saving me. Like, let me buy you an edible bouquet or something.
I'm someone that actually does give a shit about your shit.
I was this close to being in a study where I was going to get paid to give my shit. Like, for it was MS study or something, but I didn't get to that far in that study. But I thought it was the coolest thing to get paid to literally give them my shit to study, but that didn't happen. But surprisingly, like as we don't have new antibiotics coming in the pipeline and stuff, this is probably something that might be something we have to do more in the future when we don't have, antibiotics to kill things and we get antibiotic resistance and stuff like that. We'll have to do unique things like that.
yes. So
Could be.
you younger people, you know, in 20 years, you'll say, I remember they were talking about that. If that's all it took was just a fecal transplant. But then you'd have to go, well, are you gluten free? Do you have allergies? Do you have like who's,
Man,
Maybe they'll cure
I
all
don't have
that.
any of those things. I'm sitting on a gold mine over here.
Who knew you were so much dough there, John?
I'm trying to
Man,
figure out how I word this in the report for tomorrow.
Fecal
just read.
transplants in the future.
I'm
uh,
not even
Fecal
done with that topic,
transplants.
but we were just talking shit. That's all.
Yeah, yeah.
new and developing treatments. New and
Yes.
developing
Fecal
treatments.
Exactly.
transplants? And I'm like, what? Like, how do we get onto this? How do we get onto this
Outside
sideline?
of the box thinking or outside of the box research.
We're just trying to solve MS problems, and we like to think out of the box. That's right. So, all
I'm
right,
gonna put it in there.
let's get back online here because we have a couple other people that want to talk tonight. So let's talk. Let's hear from Big Red. What's going on?
Hello.
Hello, Jennifer. Welcome back. Your hair is so cute tonight, by the way. I just want to let you know.
13
Isn't she
inches off.
isn't she a glowing grandma right now? She is such a glowing grandma right now.
Oh,
She's,
congratulations.
she's so beautiful. She's so beautiful. And my daughter is just killing it. She is killing it.
Awesome.
She's breastfeeding. She is doing it. Like after a few months, I was like, I can't. Like, especially with the boys, nope, I can't do it. I have to get back to work. But she's lucky she gets to stay home and really be a mom to her daughter. So I
Good for
envy that.
her.
But I don't think I could have done it. So good for her because I'm a workaholic. So
That's so awesome because that's not an easy thing all the time,
no,
and it's still a more than a full-time job. So hands up to your daughter. How old is she?
that's what I'm saying. She's 25.
Okay, cool.
She'll remind me again because I was a teenager when I had her, so she reminds me over again that she's 25 and I was 19.
Right.
Okay, I get it. Okay. But just been working a lot as always. I'm back on Abagio. I've been taking it daily, so there's a few times I've missed, but that's because of I just can't remember sometimes. But I've been having issues with, and I've been having this for a while, but it seems like it's getting worse. And it's kind of um, it's an MS issue, and I heard a little bit about it, but my scalp is itching like crazy. It itches so bad, and I can't scratch it, and it's driving me nuts. So I'm dealing with that, and my swallowing, which I've had trouble with it before, but I think it's just part of one of my flare-ups where
that, Frank.
the swallowing, I just can't. It's kind of really scary because I have to like stop and so there's that.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Have you tried to
That's
use Thicket or anything like that, Jen?
the what was it?
Thicket?
Uh-uh.
Have you heard of Thicket? Does
Mm-mm.
anyone want to explain what Thicket is to Jen?
It comes in liquid now, and that is so much better than the powder.
Oh, it is? Really?
It comes in
Tell
liquid packets, yeah.
tell her what it's about. How do you use it?
It it thickens the food or drink up so you can swallow, because you can swallow thicker stuff easier usually when you are swallowing problems, because I did less. And another trick they told me was to tuck my chin to my chest when I swallow, and that would help.
Okay. Because it's
You have
like
to
you
be
forget how
really
to swallow.
careful,
It's really
Jennifer.
weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I am.
I got down
So
to 94 pounds. It took my swallowing. 94 pounds. I was a walking skeleton.
I'm just afraid I'm not gonna get out of it. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? That's the scary part. Like I'm never gonna swallow again. Oh my God.
I know.
So, let's see what else. Oh, on a good note, my son Damien, he graduated from the fire department and he is now a firefighter over in Louisville, Kentucky. He completed all of his stuff. He's got to do the what is it called? CPR
First
stuff and
first aid.
first aid, but it's EMT stuff. So he's got to go
Awesome.
through that. So yeah.
Proud mama.
Uh, and then my son Dominic, he is a manager at Culver's. I don't know if you guys have a Culver's around you. The Butterburgers. Yeah, he is rocking that. So all good.
Grilled cheese. They sell the best grilled cheese.
That's so good. Like them. And it's a clean store. It's so
Mm-hmm.
clean. But
Whenever
really
they
all
have
about it.
they have their buffalo chicken curds sometimes, and those
Yeah.
are a lifestyle right there.
Are they amazing?
Yes.
Where do you find these places? Like, are they all over the States or is it just in?
I think it's the Midwest now.
Midway, yeah.
Yeah.
My parents are
And
down in
Carmen,
Arizona, so
those
I would tell them to watch out for it. Sorry.
they are so good. The Butterburgers, they are so good.
It's okay, has a higher it's a higher level of fast food. It's like higher level than like a McDonald's or something. It's a
Yeah.
better quality.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sounds
it's a bougie
sounds
burger.
delicious.
Okay.
Yum.
Mm-hmm.
Yum.
All smashy and all that stuff. And they sell
Oh
cheese
yeah.
curds too.
They have
Oh
tons
yeah.
of custard products, like different
A
ice
lot of
cream,
custard. And my
custard.
son gets on me if I call it ice cream
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
because I can't ever remember the custard part. What the word is.
What does he say if you say pudding?
Oh my, I don't know.
She's
Frozen
gonna get
pudding.
hit.
I'm gonna do it. But anyways, like just that's about it. Like, and I've been going to another meeting and stuff it's on Tuesdays, unfortunately, but we came home today instead, and I was like, it's 8:30. I'm gonna jump on.
Yay.
So
We were
I'm here.
missing you. I was thinking about you the last couple times, so I'm so happy to see you, Jennifer.
Thank you. I miss you guys. And also, I did donate my hair, so there's gonna be a little
Oh,
redhead
cool.
somewhere.
That's so awesome. How many inches did you say?
13 inches.
Oh,
That was a
how
lot of hair.
liberating. How does it
Yeah.
feel? Like it just must be so amazing when you go
It's
to.
girl. I just wake up and I don't have to wear it in a ponytail that much because my hair gets in my face and drives me nuts. But
Yeah.
and it was going under my armpits. Like, it was
Ugh.
horrible. Like, I was
Yeah.
like, I'm done with it. And I'm not ready for Winona to grab my hair. Maybe a piercing. I don't know.
Just watch out,
So
Big Red. You might get hair as short as mine.
I had hair short as yours when I was pregnant with Autumn. I
Oh,
rocked it.
I bet you did.
I
I
did.
bet
Well,
you
you can
did.
go back. You can go back if you need to go real short. I tell you, I didn't plan on going this short, but man, the amount of time it saves me and energy, so worth it.
Oh
It
yeah.
just makes my life so much easier. I love it.
I do love the short hair because the long hair was getting too much. And with my itching, it was like, I don't know.
Jennifer, as far as the itching, get like this, a really stiff hairbrush, and be as gentle as possible. You won't damage your skin. It's just the best thing ever. I've got one in every room of the house. The itching just goes away. It satisfies. Because is it like a neuropathic itch where it's like electrical? Yeah, and you just gently, so you don't damage your scalp or your skin wherever you itch. It
Well,
just goes.
luckily I don't have nails, so I don't do too much damage. But
But
when I
this
get
will
something sharp, I'm like,
it will satisfy it. It'll go away.
Did you
Is my
show the brush? I was looking at something else, Marlo. I missed
yeah,
it
right
if you
here?
had it.
Yeah, put it. Is it like a
Put it right up
Conair?
to the camera.
Yeah, I bought
oh
them on
yeah,
Amazon.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They're really stiff, and then you just be as gentle as possible.
yeah,
Like I'll just get an itch and just go like that, and it goes away for a good enough time that you can forget about it.
sure, because it's really bad at nighttime.
Yep, I've got it. I've got it by the bed. Just pull it out, and you go right back to sleep.
Does anyone get it? And I got it in my back. It was way before I got diagnosed. I don't know about way before, but before I got diagnosed, I went to this dermatologist and I said, I feel like there's, like that part that you can't reach. Is there something there? And she said, no. I was just sure there's got to be some evidence of something. And she said, no, that it just, I might have been diagnosed and are having neurological stuff, but she said, yeah, it's just kind of like a phantom itch.
You guys are making me itchy. You
Mm.
guys are seriously making me itchy right now.
It's like little electrical pulses under your skin that feel like
Yeah, and I
this.
can't.
It goes
Sorry.
away.
But is it like,
Little,
because you know what? I do that a lot.
but be as
I do
gentle as
that. Is
possible.
that same thing? Like, it's not, it's just
The
a,
more gentle you are, the more it goes away.
That
Big
makes
Red,
sense.
I really want you to try it out, and I want to hear back from you if
Okay, it's
what
my
Marlo
homework.
is suggesting. I really want to know if it's effective as for you as it is for him, because it sounds awesome for Marlo.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay. I know I've seen those brushes before, so I'll get one.
It's just
I'll
a
let you guys
standard
If,
know.
if you
hairbrush.
want to
That's
go
all
the
it is.
pharmaceutical route, hydroxyzine takes it away if it gets bad.
Hydroxyzine.
So, yeah, it's a prescription.
is
It's
that
Okay.
like
Or
cortisone?
you could just rub dirt
Benadryl
on
on
it or
steroids,
something.
huh?
I
Is
said you could just rub dirt
hydroxyzine?
on it or something. Just joking.
But is hydroxyzine pharmacy lady? Is that the
Yeah,
same
it's
as
a
cortisone?
prescription. No, it's not cortisol.
It's a
It's a type of antihistamine.
it's like Benadryl, only
It's
it's
like a longer
stronger.
acting Benadryl.
Mm.
What's it called,
Ooh.
Kim?
Hydroxyzine. I'll
Mm.
stick it in the chat.
It really does help. I didn't know about it, but I got itching, and it's not only on my head sometimes. Sometimes it just starts there, and then it's just like, and I can't quit, and I can't
And mine
sleep.
is to spell it wrong.
Close enough.
Boy, we're
Close.
really covering some good MS symptoms tonight, hey?
That's why we
I'm kind of
come.
relieved
I
our new
learned.
friend isn't here, actually. She might be freaking out.
But she can listen. Uh-oh, Rick's here. Let's behave.
Oh, yeah, everybody behave.
Shh, shh, don't tell them
I've been
about
having
the.
a like, is it called laramides response or laramides? Like when your
Oh,
neck gets all like twitchy and you feel
uh,
like someone just came up behind you and I don't know, like Steven Seagal. Who else has that? It's like a shock burn down the back of your throat.
Marlo does
Oh,
too. Well, he is just the expert tonight.
yeah,
Yeah, for
it hurts
me,
and it
it's when I
sucks.
look up. If I look up, I get it.
Yeah.
how long does
Oh,
it last?
I like it. I really like it. It makes my legs and feet get really warm. I'll do that sometimes just to feel, but it'll make my legs feel warm.
Huh. It's like a super volt of all your neurological messages you're sending all at once, hey? Just like zoop.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what it
I
is.
will I will learn to rechannel that power for good.
There you go, John.
But it usually just hurts like a son of a gun,
Mm.
and like I twist to put my shoulders up, and then Melissa's like, "Oh no, what's going on?" And the dogs are like, "Oh God, no, what's going on?" I'm just like, "Oh, it's just that shock that goes throughout my whole neck all at once." And it does feel like someone's grabbing, and for me, it's kind of like a quick, sharp twist.
Hmm.
That's how that happens for me, and I dislike it. But
Yeah.
Marlo's over here. He's like, "Yeah, it turns me into a way that I can slam dunk." For Marlo,
Yeah, I don't slam dunk.
Does anybody else get? I used to get, but I mean now I just think I know why I get it because it's MS. But I have like a burning sensation in my feet. It's not. I'm always cold, and I've always been cold, so it's not like a horrible burning sensation, but it was just sort of not exactly pins and needles, not exactly numbness. It's like what's going on, and
I
I
have
mean
all
now I
kinds of
feel
that,
myself.
Karen.
What?
I have all kinds of that. Yeah. So like sometimes it's burning. Like if I've had my blankets on my toes in one position for too long in the night, I'll wake up and I can really feel it. Like my right top of my toe is just kind of burning for quite a while, like until I get moving and the body kind of gets a new message. It's just like imprinted into the network or something. But
yeah.
that it changes too. Like sometimes I'm cold, sometimes I'm so hot. It's crazy. Like there's no thermoregulation at all.
Mm-mm.
Knees down, basically.
Yeah, my feet will be
Before
like freezing cold, but yet they'll be sweaty.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's
before
whack.
I was diagnosed, I thought my feet were actually cold, even though they felt warm when I touched them. And so I ran up a hell of an electric bill over 2 or 3 months for running a space heater directly on my feet, like all night long. And it helped, but only because it was like setting my feet almost on fire.
That just doesn't
Now I know
sound
that
like
that is.
me.
What's that, Frank?
That just does not sound like a good idea to me.
No.
S'mores.
I got something that works for that too. If you can find the scratchiest wool blanket, the moment it touches your skin, your legs feel warm. It's got to be the scratchy wool. It's just amazing. The
You mean like
moment
an
you
army
feel that,
blanket?
your legs are warm.
Get an old one from an Army Navy store.
Yep. It's
Well,
instant warm. I can't understand it, but it works.
and it will itch
Guarantee.
you too.
No, you believe me, it'll do wonders for you.
Okay, make sure you make good notes of this, Frank. We got a lot of challenges that we have to try out this week, eh?
Good thing we got recording going on, so we can go back and rewatch it.
Why a
Yeah.
challenge?
We have the what was it called, the MS Brain Trust, like a year or so ago, where they could come together with the MS, think tank, and that's what tonight's been.
I mean, when your legs get so cold that you're feeling like a spasm and that wool touches your legs, it's just done. You can fall right asleep.
What about wool
Wow.
socks? Because lately my feet have been getting cold because it goes down to about 40 degrees here. So,
Well, most wool is that merino wool. It's really soft. That doesn't work for me. It's got to be that scratchy,
Old,
old-fashioned.
cheapy kind of, yeah,
Yep, it just
industrial
works.
wool.
It
And they need
just
to be,
works.
and they need to be gray.
army
Oh,
green.
darn it. I know my mom and dad have an old green blanket with black stripes on it. I know that would do the trick right there.
If it works for the first climbers that went up Everest in the 1900s, it'll work for you.
Yeah. How are you,
Anything?
Rick?
And those first guys, that was Edmund Hillary.
Yes. Edmund Hillary, and then another one I can't think of. Mallory. Mallory was one too. Yeah. Anything else you wanted to say, Big Red, before we go on to the next person? She's good. All
Keep
right.
rocking it.
Karen, you're up. I want to make sure we get to everyone tonight.
I want to actually I want to hear from Carmen, but I want to just read to you. I did find this thing, but Andrea's not here. From
Yeah, she's back. She came back.
Oh, she's
Yeah, I'm
back.
here.
Look at that.
Andrew's
All I had to do was say it, and it
There
happened.
you go.
So I see I have a letter that I got from, well, Rick just did Rick leave? Because
No,
I
Carmen just
somehow
left, but
Rick
I think she'll pop.
inspired it, but it said this was 11/19/2020. Dear Karen, I hope this email finds you well and you're safely staying healthy, blah, blah, blah. I'm a lead research coordinator for the international, not the interstitial, but the international multiple sclerosis. The interstitial multiple sclerosis microbiome study at UCSF. I was looking over our IMSMS. Forget it. Oh, that's what it is. The international with a little I eligibility database, and understand you're interested in participating in our research. This is in my draft folder because I said it's been like a year and a half since I don't know what you were referring to. But anyway, it did say, I understand you're interested. I'd like to provide a brief description. We're investigating how diet and environmental influence multiple sclerosis disease susceptibility and progression. We do this by analyzing, Frank, write this down. We do this by analyzing microbial populations that reside in the gastrointestinal tract via stool sample donations.
Who knew?
The ultimate goal is eventually to develop novel therapeutics. Now you know what they mean by novel therapeutics that will benefit those affected by MS.
Awesome.
That was
So,
2020. I haven't heard anything since then.
Must not got funding for it. Louis is in the house. Louis, say hello real quick.
Hi.
I think those studies take time too. Like around the time that I was diagnosed, they were really big talking about vitamin D being the answer to curing MS, and it's only recently they've kind of come out with the yeah, not so much.
Is anybody on vitamin D? I am.
I am.
Yeah.
And check it regularly.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, I don't understand how the research came back with, but when my vitamin D is down, I relapse, and when it's up, I don't. So that might just be anecdotal. Forget the trials. I mean, that seems to be my experience.
But we're
How
wow.
still
many
getting.
units a day are you taking, Andrea?
I take 5,000 units 4 times a week,
Okay.
and that
Hmm.
maintains my vitamin D level quite nicely.
And you
I forgot
really
what.
can tell when you get low that you relapse, hey? That's
Well,
wild. Or that
I,
it impacts it impacts you so much. Sorry. Not that you relapse necessarily, but sorry, wrong words.
well, I mean, to be honest, I've only had the one official relapse when I was diagnosed, and from there I maintained my vitamin D. So yeah, I mean, I'm literally anecdotal data. Like I'm making some
Yep.
stuff up in my head, but doesn't stop me from,
Good news.
yeah. Sorry, did I interrupt?
No, I was just going to say the one thing with vitamin D is you have to keep checking it because I mean, like, especially if it's really important, um, that you check it every 3 months and then you adjust your amount. Um, and
Absolutely.
and Miss Jennifer, that is not good. You gotta take. You can take big doses, and it really can make a difference. So when I got diagnosed with prostate cancer, I think I was at 17, and I started taking doses, and like initially I think I was taking 2,000 a day, and but you can take up to 10,000 a day. I mean, talk to your PCP about it, but you really need to get that level up to. I mean, it
But
should.
you, you can take too much of it. So I had a kidney stone that grew so big that it blocked my ureter and
Yeah.
caused me to go into sepsis and spend 5 days in the hospital before they figured out what was going on. So don't let it get too high. Just and so work with your doctor and make sure you get it checked. I'm sorry to interrupt, Rick.
No. You're absolutely right. I mean, you want it to be ideally, you really want it to be between about 45 and 60. Um, and you can take the big doses to get it up there, and then once you got it up there, you just mess around, and you take what you need to keep it at that level, and you figure it out yourself. But don't let it get down to that 14 level. That's not swift at all. And the
I
other
don't think
thing
I've
is you
ever
need.
checked my vitamin D, Rick. This is all new to me.
Oh, it's pretty
Surprising me
important,
since
and
you're
it's.
so far north.
When were you
I
Yeah.
take it.
diagnosed?
No, I take it, but I haven't heard like about checking the levels and seeing where I'm at. I take 4 to 5,000 a day, and all my family does actually. But
Oh, really? No, you can overdo it. I would, yeah, be careful
yeah.
with
Yeah, it should
vitamin
be.
D. Get your blood checked.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah,
It's
mine
it's
went up. Mine went up. I can't see the screen. I don't know if my screen. I guess you can hear me.
Oh, yes, and see
Yep.
you.
Yeah. I can't see anything but a black screen. I might have to log out and log in. But yeah, mine went up. I think, Rick, I think for MS the number was more like 65, 60 to 70 ish, and then
okay.
maybe I got a notice from there's now a PA, and they said, well, you should probably decrease. You should decrease. I love when they do that. So then I there are 3 pharmacists I can call. I go, well, what does that mean? So it's not even like Andrea has similar to me. Like just take it 3 times a week or 4 times, especially because I bought a higher dose. It's not water soluble, so I just take it like every 2 or 3 days. I forgot, but they check it every 6 months for me.
Yeah, and the test that you want to ask for is vitamin D3 hydroxy 25. That's the name of the test.
Thanks, Rick.
And mine's been low for a while. And they say that like MS, with that low level, it really, it a lot of people that have MS is affected, have low
Hmm.
levels.
Well, they
And
even
I've
I
had
say
a low level
it's
for a
a
long
quote unquote
time.
epidemic. Everybody's got low, but yes, in MS, it's more so. Mine was, I think, 10 when I had my attack.
Yeah, I was
Wow.
down.
Yeah.
When I had my first symptoms, I was living in Fairbanks, Alaska, so I was getting like maybe 3 to 3.5 hours of real dank light because I was like less than 200 miles south of the Arctic Circle, and that's what triggered my symptoms. I think that's when it first started. When I was in Fairbanks.
Mm.
I don't like the sun because I'm a redhead, so
Right.
Yeah, and you're using sunscreen, so you're not getting the vitamin D.
Right.
And that was the thing too, is when I was 16, I had a car accident, and the surgeon said, do not tan your scar on your face because it'll permanently discolor it. So I was putting on sunscreen at like 5:30 at night in northern Minnesota. So I didn't get sun. I probably didn't get vitamin D for years
Right.
because I was so fetishous about not getting sunburned. But now I use sunscreen, but I don't use it as frequently as I used to. If I'm outside a little bit, I'm okay with it. And then I'd rather wear long sleeves or like a big hat versus I just get so sick of sunscreen. I just hate sunscreen. Like you see me in Belize, I'm like totally covered except my head and my neck and my hands, you know. I hate wearing sunscreen.
You know, you don't get any D3 from the sun in the northern hemisphere between like October and March, wh- wherever you are, because the sun is too low
Yeah.
to deliver it. So that's why also in winter you have to you may have to add a little bit of supplement.
I've heard people talk about light therapy for MS and stuff like that too.
Are you talking about
Oh,
like near infrared or like elite, like what kind of light therapy?
Oh, heck, I don't know. I figured it was one of those, we'll cure your MS. I don't listen
Yes.
to those. I've just heard people talk about it. I just assumed it was kind of like grow lamps or something to get, I don't know.
well, you have that, Kim. You have a sun lamp, right? I can understand why. Now you needed one if you were up in Fairbanks.
Yeah, I've always had a problem with the lack of sunlight. It really affects my mood. I probably have sad. Um,
Right.
Yeah.
so and I'm like right now I have it on right now. It's blaring at me and
Did
light
you
makes
guys
me
all just go through a refresh of our go-to webinar? Like I had everything, like I barely have any cameras working right now. Sorry to interrupt.
I just turned
No,
my vitamin D simulation light on. You see how much brighter my face got on camera.
Oh, look at
Um,
you. See, I knew there was light therapy going on in the MS world. Yeah.
yeah, and mine has a great setting where you can time how long. There's three settings on it, and you time how long each setting goes, so it's easier to like mimic also a sunrise.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and this time of year, I keep
Does
it
it
on
go
all the time.
backwards for the sunset?
Yes, you can totally do that. It's programmable like that.
Very cool.
r-
Yeah,
regardless on how much artificial light, you can't beat the light outside. Like nothing's
right,
better than
right.
me walking. Like right now, it snowed like 10.9 inches here. So being able to go out even at night and having it light with all the snow and in the daytime, it's just so good for me in the winter. That's why it's hard to have winters without snow because I need that extra light um, the snow provides. And when you don't have that extra snow and it's just black outside, it's really tough for me.
Oh, that's where I live.
Well, it was turn for Karen to talk, but I think we lost Karen. So let's have Louis introduce himself real quick, and then let's jump to Carmen. And if you need any time to talk, Louis, please let us know.
Oh yeah. Hi. So I'm Louis. I'm on Ogrevis with relapsing remitting and from San Antonio, Texas. And yeah, I don't think I need any time, but it's good to see
Good to
y'all.
see you. Did you have a
Yeah.
good birthday?
Yeah, I went to. Oh, okay. Well, I could share a little. So, I went back to NASA in Houston. And so that's kind of where my MS story started was in Houston. So went back there, and so that was fun. Um, but yeah, it was cool to be there again and to kind of redo it, with more experience. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, we went to see some of the rockets and artifacts and like the training facilities for the astronauts and kind of nerdy stuff like that. But it was kind of fun.
Hey, Louie.
Hmm.
Oh, good. You can hear me. I can't see anything or hear anything. I've got a flashing, spinning circle of doom on my screen. Anyway, you said that your MS story started there. Do you feel like sharing a little bit about that? I haven't heard that story before.
Yeah. So I live in San Antonio. My cousin lives in Houston, and I moved, not moved. I temporarily moved there to just help her finish out her lease in an apartment. And so I was going to be there and just help her finish that and then come back home. And while I was there for maybe about 2 months. Was when I woke up to my double vision, and uh, that was a long thing. So that my double vision was a couple months, but it started there. My double vision stuff. I saw 3 different eye doctors. The third one, she said, you should get an MRI. And so that was the start of all of this.
I see.
And yeah, and so she's really who got me diagnosed. And so I was diagnosed, I guess, right after Thanksgiving, I think. And so my cousin and I, we were like, we're still gonna just try to salvage this because I was supposed to move back in December, and we were like, let's just make some kind of thing of this. And so I still ended up going back for a little bit of time in December, and we went and just did fun stuff. And she did still take me to NASA, and we just did touristy things in Houston, and so I went again in January, and it was just kind of neat uh, to be there, and um, it was an interesting experience for sure.
Thanks for sharing, Louie. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Louis, how long ago was it that you got diagnosed? How many
Oh
years
yeah.
ago?
um, November 30th of 2021, and November 11th was my onset of my symptoms. It was probably sooner, like everyone says, but that November 11th was when I woke up to double vision,
Okay.
and that's when I knew something was not right. So, and then yeah, January 20th was when I got to start my treatment. So that was a battle of insurance.
That optic neuritis is a bitch.
Yeah, yeah, I did not start really seeing straight until the end of January.
My eye was going that way.
Hmm.
I didn't have no vision and it was going that way. So it was like, what's going on?
Yeah,
I'm fine though. I'm fine.
yeah, it's scary. It's scary.
Yeah, I like it when I have to call to my yearly doctor appointment to see my ophthalmologist. And one time I called, and like, I need to call back, let you know if you need these tests. I'm like, I need the old people tests. And she goes like, yeah, you need them. Because they give you like the peripheral, and they do the scan
Hmm.
because the my optic nerve shrank a bunch and it never came back. So I get those tests every time, like there for a long time.
Interesting.
The weird thing is in the peripheral vision test, it's all white lights, but I'll see red lights sometimes. I'm
Huh.
like, oh, the red lights are kind of interesting. I'm like, there's just white lights. I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, I missed the and I am very interested in. I don't know. My computer won't. If I try to get on with my tablet, it doesn't work. If I try to get on with my computer, it doesn't work. So whatever it is I think I want, I have to use the other. Anyway, Now I'm on my tablet and I have a note to go to the go-to meeting, as Rick said, but then I thought, well, will I even remember on that day that what it is? Because the app just keeps crashing and saying, you know, we can't get in. But yeah, I wanted to know. I have double vision, but you were saying that optic neuritis, but isn't that different than just double vision?
Yeah, I mean, when I had it, I just went completely blind in my eye. I had no double vision, and I didn't have what Jennifer had, where her eye actually started turning a different direction. That I looked fine.
And I have
So
astigmas,
What are you
but
saying? What
really
are you
bad.
saying,
So
Kim? It didn't look fine. It didn't look good.
You might have looked a little. You might have looked a little creepy. I'm just saying.
I messed with my husband so bad too. I was like, "Are you still love me?" And it was like going that way. I was like, "Look at me."
I love it. You gotta have a sense
Awesome.
of humor. You gotta have a sense of humor when
oh
stuff
my
happens.
God, you crack me up.
Yeah, because it sucks.
Exactly.
I
Should
Looking
I
have
in
hate.
the
just
eye.
think if you can't laugh, like, I mean, you can't control it, so may as well fucking laugh. Like, whatever.
So the double vision, because I have, I had that today. That's why I thought I'm not going out. That I get that a lot.
So
I
I
think
think
optic
there's different
neuritis.
things like the optic nerve is actually part of your brain that kind of connects to your eye, but then you also have muscles around your eye um, that can also cause issues like not pointing your eyes properly, causing double vision, or I have nystagmus where my eyes will just kind of shake,
Yep,
and then
same.
yeah, that's really kind of freaky when it happens, but luckily it kind of goes quick.
I had a thing once. It's only one time. I haven't told anyone, but I'm telling all of you because it's been a while. Because the one isolated incident is just an isolated incident, and if you tell the people on the conveyor belt,
Right.
Dios mío, you may never get off it. But I had, and I can't remember. Usually I'll document something like that, but it would just freak me out. I was like, this is not happening. That I think I was really tired and I was laying down. I'm not usually laying down at 5 or 6 in the evening, and it's like I couldn't see out of one eye. Everything was like white, and I'm like, oh my God, what is this? And I just,
For how long?
well, yeah, that was it. So then I just thought, well, there's nothing I can do about it right now, and I just kind of maybe meditated, just like calmed down a little, because that's never happened to me before. It freaked me out. Like I cannot see out of this eye, and it was just like a cloudy white. So I just waited, and then of course I looked it up on the internet, and apparently with older people, not MS, but older people, something like that could happen. It's like if there's pain, you got to go do something immediately. But fortunately, it passed in about maybe 20 minutes, and it never happened again. But I was just not about to share that with any of my providers.
Right. I had this is before diagnosis. This was back probably in my early 30s, and I was in the back seat of an SUV with my then husband and his father, and we were going to a college football game, and we were just talking, and it was like pulling down a window shade. My
Hmm.
vision just went. And but it was only probably a few seconds. It was, it felt like it was forever. I don't know, but it was surely less than 30 seconds, and it lifted up and I could see fine, and they wanted to take me to the hospital, and I said no. We went to the game on Monday because I promised I'd go talk to my doctor. I called my doctor's office to make an appointment, and they sent me directly over to the emergency room. emergency room did a CAT scan. They couldn't find it. I guess they were worried it might be a stroke. Couldn't find anything. He told me I had migraine phenomenon and sent me on my way.
It was all in your head.
Yep. Yep.
Was this, Andrea, was this before you were diagnosed? I'm sorry, I missed that part.
It was probably in the early 2000s. I was probably in my 30s or
Oh,
early
okay.
30s. Yeah, so
And
it
have you
was
had it again?
before. No, it was like Karen was saying, it was a
Yeah,
one-off, just kind of
thankfully.
weird thing.
Yeah.
So they
In my
said
case, Karen,
sometimes,
there is no conveyor belt. It's more like a no service sign.
yeah,
They
well, you
always
got that, but
go
yeah,
on with me
I
on my
didn't
way.
want to go there. But it just said like, I'm pretty sure it said about, as much as I could remember, that just sometimes when you're older, you're just like a little speck kind of gotten, like you said, that window shade.
Right.
It
Louis,
was at least
I'm
five
sorry.
months ago.
Louis, can I ask, could you see anything? Make out anything? Could you?
Yeah, I was able to see, and it wasn't like full blown double vision. It's just that I knew that my eye wasn't focusing correctly, but
Okay.
I knew it was angled up because I could pull down on my cheek and my vision would align.
Oh,
But
good.
I just knew that it was like like just up a little bit, and my eyes just weren't like tracking together.
Okay.
But I did like see. But yeah, I no matter how hard I tried and focus, I couldn't get them to
Mm.
to work.
Yeah, I had it so bad I couldn't see anything. But it was both of them, both my eyes. And you know what they told me? They told me it was anxiety.
Oh yeah.
6 months I could not see.
Wow.
I couldn't even see the TV. I could see dark and light, but gosh, and then they tell me it's anxiety. I'm like, what the? 6 months? That's a long time.
In Oakland, where I live, that there are like two traffic signals at the same spot. I know there isn't. Like I drive my little 1 mile from the house. I know my way. I'm like, I see two traffic signals hanging from the line. I don't think there's two of them next to each other.
Oh,
And then I
oh.
do like the one eye thing. I was like, okay, no, there's only one. It because when I see the double, I see it in one eye, which doesn't even apparently make
Mm.
sense.
Hmm. I know it doesn't because yeah, my therapy was they got me a pair of glasses and covered one of the lenses, and that was like when therapy would come in, I'd have to wear that, and a patch. That it didn't do any good. I couldn't see anything anyways.
I have an eye exam coming up next week, just for glasses, and those were symptoms before I even got diagnosed that I'm not seeing. I'm just not seeing with my left eye. And even when I was in the diagnosis process, I went to see an ophthalmologist on the conveyor belt at Kaiser because it's all inclusive. And this guy said, well, I was just here to check if you have optic neuritis. And no, you don't have that. And I said, but I'm seeing like, I don't see in my left eye. I have astigmatism. I've always had problems with my prescription, but this felt like I don't really see with my left eye. Sometimes even when I was walking or even driving, I can't read that road sign. What street am I on? And he said, well, legally you could still drive. I mean, that's all he was interested in. It's like, okay, so legally I could still drive, but and then last time I went to this optometrist, I think it was before I was diagnosed, the time before this. I think I went back 3 or 4 times. I had to keep remaking my glasses, and she said, okay, it doesn't make sense. Let's wait till you come in and you see we get something similar. So last time I went 2.5 years ago, because I'm seeing worse now, and it's just so frustrating. At least now we know I have MS, but I remember I said, I'm not seeing. She goes, well, so then she tried an extra prism. I had 1+ prism, and now I have 2. And then she said, well, is that better? And she said, I don't want you to be addicted to a prism. I'm like, at this point in my life, that's your concern, a prism addiction? So I'm afraid to go back on the conveyor belt and see what she has to say.
Well, I'm glad you're being seen. And then if you don't like her, find someone new. I love my ophthalmologist.
No,
She
I
is
like her. Yeah, she's not an
amazing.
ophthalmologist. She's an optometrist.
Yeah.
So, and the ophthalmologist, actually, his name was Huey. And I said, he was full of hooey. I had a friend who had gone to him too. So I'm not going back to hooey. And I did at one point make an appointment because I think he did say I have cataract, or someone said I have cataract, but it's not ready to be operated on. That is the only appointment in 5 years that I just didn't show up for because it was at 11 in the morning. And I went, do I really want to go to an ophthalmologist and have them tell me anything? Like, I'm not going. I'm just not going to go.
I finally had to see a neuro ophthalmologist, and they did give me some prism lenses. They were really, really sick, but at least I could see enough to watch TV. I mean, not clearly, but
Are you an addict now? A prism addict?
I don't even have them anymore.
Oh,
My sight came back. My
How
sight
long did
came
you
back
use
six
them,
months later.
Sherry? Six
Huh?
She's
months?
on the wagon.
6 months. 6 long months.
Scary months, probably. Hey, Sherry?
Yeah, I had LASIK surgery, so I thought, oh my God, I'm going blind because I had LASIK.
Mm.
And then he says, it's anxiety.
I want to make sure we get to everybody before 9 o'clock here. So, Carmen, what did you want to talk about tonight?
Um, it's nothing critically important, actually. Are there other people still waiting to talk?
No?
Oh,
a little,
okay.
a little. I was
A
gonna do
little?
my
Okay.
little.
Yeah, we'll get back. Let's get Carmen out, and then we'll get back to you here.
Okay. I want to switch my camera around, but I need to think about how to do that. So just give me a second. Now that I'm finally back online, how do I switch my camera? What the hell?
Whoops.
I've done this before. Like, what the hell?
Yeah. I have a similar symptom. I've
Guys, what
done
do
this
I do?
before. Why
Oh
now?
goodness,
Can I
Frank.
remember?
We could
Well,
see you, Carmen.
I know. I'm trying to turn my camera on. Okay, never mind. I can't even do it. Why can't I do it? This is stupid.
I can't
Okay,
I
find
can't.
anyway,
it either.
I was going to show you my
Pretty
little
tree.
pardon?
We see your Christmas tree.
It's very
Yep.
pretty.
Yeah, we're getting to what I want to show you. I'm in my chair. I've become quite a aficionado with the chair. You'll hear it. You can see my little rehab section back here. Check it out, y'all. I got lots of
Nice.
choices.
What are we
A
looking at?
little bit overboard. I've got a,
Walk us through it.
yeah, I got to go closer and better since I can't switch my camera. My physical therapist brought over one of these rollators that you stand up with instead of like your elbows lean in it. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, what I have here is numero uno old rollator that has a shelf on it that my husband just threw on there that I use out on the patio, really, but he brought it upstairs because he thought it would be helpful. Next, we have my actual rollator that I was using before I got the chair. And with my cool little drink holder on it. Can you see that purple thing? It just clamps on between the seat and the
Nice.
frame. I love it. And then the next contraption is this guy. So, sorry, I'm trying to see. Can you see
Hmm.
it? So it's one of those ones that you like lean your elbows in and
Yeah.
stand more upright. But it's really quite narrow, like it's quite small. Sorry. So when I walk, my feet are like kind of it's not really the right size for me, but it's the only one that she had. So she just wanted me to try it, and then she'll keep her eye open for, because I'm just she's just lending it to me from home care. So there you go. And now I'm in my chair. So I have quite the plethora of mobility equipment suddenly. And it's like, you know, I don't know, because I'm safe and I'm not falling, I feel relieved and happy that I could do things. But then when I go to stand and get in and out of the shower, because I haven't been walking as much, hardly at all. Well, no, a little bit when I go out, but my legs are just, you know, just terrible. That's all I can say. They're barely there. They're wanting to collapse. They're numb. They're freezing cold, even though they just were in the warm shower. Like, it's everything. Even just getting over my little lip of my shower is a challenge. Like, I have to sit and lift my legs. I'm constantly having to lift my legs. Anyway, I just say it's like being paralyzed in slow motion. That's what it feels like. Like, my feet and my legs are just starting to be quite challenging, is what I'm saying. So then you just have to accept. And so that's what I just am trying to work on, accepting.
That's why I wanted to hear from you, because you and I are lockstep with the same issues. Yeah, and I went to the recares, I call it the giveaway, but it's the home thing, and I actually did see the stand up one
Mm-hmm.
a roll later. I didn't ask for it because I just didn't think, I don't know, it's like, is that what I need? But I did go and I got a transfer bench for the shower, and I got a call from the OT and she talked about which one, and they had different ones. So I haven't done it yet. I was going to go on the transfer bench, take a shower so I could be clean for all of you. But then my neighbor said, well, you want to do that first? I said, no, come over first and deal with stuff. And I want to make sure it was in there, because the last time I took a shower, I don't think I had told you because it hadn't happened yet, but I took a shower and I have a tub. I put like 19 inches because I have a jacuzzi tub that I can't use anymore. And I have all these handrails, and I got in the shower and then I couldn't get my weak leg back over because I need to hang on and I need to lift the leg, and
So what'd you do?
I couldn't do that. And fortunately, at least I had yet another handrail added. So then my foot was getting caught in the shower curtain. And so I did manage to get out, and I said, you're not getting in that tub anymore. And I did go to the pool on Saturday so I could shower. And Friday, that was Friday. So then Friday I went, Friday's the day they have that. So I went and I got the transfer bench, and
Good.
thank goodness she walked me through it too, like what to look for, what not, because the tub is 18 inches and I actually put it all together myself. And then I got a bed rail, which I haven't put in yet, but she was saying, you need a bed rail, you need a wheelchair, you need a bed rail, you need to roll in, shower, you need to. And what else did I get? Oh, I got an over the commode. I don't need it yet, but they had it in a box. And I returned the bath lower. There was a bath thing, and I was like, well, I don't think I should do that. So I returned that. And then while I was there, because I'm not out and about anymore, and I'm more in my neighborhood than in Berkeley where I used to go. So somebody pulls up to drop something off. She goes, hi, Karen, because I haven't really been around a lot of people that I've known. And she's like, it's Catherine Rose. So she was dropping off some stuff because I found out her partner died. And, I'm seeing how much I miss being out with people I just know a lot of people and I'm not out and about. And she told me he had just passed the week before, and we had a good hug while there's lines and people coming. And then they wouldn't take the commode. So I wrote to her today and I said, you probably found something for it, but actually I need a commode sooner or later, and I wouldn't mind having columns commode. So yeah, all that equipment, that reality check, and I need that. And so the wheelchair, I'll try to be brief about this one. The OT came to my house December 10th. On December 21st, they wanted $4,500. And they said it could take 6 to 8 weeks. It could take longer. They have horrible Yelp reviews. We're stuck with it because of Kaiser. I talked to the OT about it, I don't know, last week. And I emailed the vendor, essentially. I don't even know what it is, an ATP. And he didn't get back to me. And it's just, this is ridiculous. You know, this wheelchair comes to my house. I didn't even know he was coming. You know, they do all this assessment. They throw all this stuff at me. And it's like, now we want $4,500. Well, I mean, can I have a conversation with someone about this? Just, I think it's a really great wheelchair. It's called the Quantum Stretto, and it's narrow and it goes up, and I think it's all that, but I just want to have a conversation. And I didn't hear from the guy, and it's already getting all these bad reviews. So then I thought, well, maybe I should try it. So I looked online on Craigslist. Somebody was selling a wheelchair like that. It didn't go up and down, and they were asking $1,500, and they were asking $1,000, and then yesterday I saw they wanted $400. I said, well, maybe they'll just let me have it, or for $200. Like, I don't, you know, then I don't have to be stressed out about getting, so I don't get to that fast drop because I haven't even put the deposit down, and it could take 2 or 3 months. So then today I heard like a really scratchy voice, and it sounded like a woman, and I didn't answer the phone. I was sleeping, but then I said, oh, maybe it's the people with the wheelchair for sale. And then I listened to it, and it was like, this is Todd with National Mobility Seating. I've been out since December 28th. I can't talk very well. So I thought, okay, at least there's a good excuse, you know, like he's really sounds ill. So, I mean, I just think this wheelchair thing is going to take a whole lot longer than I want. And I got in touch with the MS Society after many attempts and got a new person. And she said, well, we can help up to $1,500. It's like when I first started with them, it was $3,000, then it was $2,000, but they did cover $4,000 for my lift. So I was like, okay, the funding cycle starts October 1st. And she said, well, we need to have an RX. And I said, well, what do you mean an RX? Well, we need the doctor to write an RX. And it's like, that's not how it works. The doctor sends a referral to the OT, who sends it to the technology. So I said, look, I have an authorization from Medicare. Can I send you those papers? Well, we need an RX. And I said, well, an authorization, I don't know, help me here, Kim. Isn't it like close to an RX?
No. The OT will write that, Karen. That's what they do. They write a prescription for what your chair is and what you need. But it should be based on your measurements and you trial and erroring some things, you know?
Well, this is what, yeah. So this is what, well, maybe I'll call her and ask her, because I didn't ask about that, because they said we need it from your doctor. So then I sent the authorization where it lists everything. I sent the invoice from National Mobility Seating. It's like, what, you know, what about this don't you get? And she wrote back and said, we need to have an RX from your doctor. Yeah, I said, look, it doesn't make sense, but thank you, Carmen. I will ask the OT.
I mean, you can get your doctor just to write a prescription.
Well,
Karen requires an electric wheelchair because she has MS, period.
Well, that's what I'm going to try. But my primary is the one whose name was on it. But I think they can't even read. It just said provider, the name of my provider, DO, and they probably don't realize it's a doctor. It's just sort of, it's so convoluted. So I did put a note to the neurology nurse, because my doctor doesn't have that. She doesn't have an office staff. They don't do it. They don't do that at Kaiser. You have to do everything through medical records. But I have a note out because last year or 2 years ago when I wanted the lift, she wrote, Karen Broder, yeah, it wasn't anything. Karen Broder has non-relapsing multiple sclerosis, which requires her to have a platform list for her safety. So I left a note for the nurse to maybe write something like that. But another thing, a ding against the MS Society. She didn't even have her bio or anything. It was hard for me to even find them and get the phone number. And then she goes, here's my extension. But what's your phone number? You know, it's like when you have MS, you just don't need these many hassles. And then if you're going to ask your doctor where the neurologist, the nurse usually handles that. So hopefully that will happen. But I just feel like so slammed and frustrated that every little step just is another thing and another thing. But maybe I will ask the OT if she can. But I'm getting really good. I've been very good at galvanizing, but I'm not waiting around anymore. So, you know, that I'm finding the people who are good, like the OT. She goes, I'm going to get in touch with Todd. I'm going to make sure he calls you, and you let me know on Monday if you haven't heard from him. And I'm going to get in touch with the financial people. I don't understand why they have to have the full deposit and they guarantee me nothing. And I haven't even, so I feel like at least I'm getting
Karen,
some supports.
you shouldn't have to pay a dime if you're on Medicare.
Well, you do, you have to pay 20%. I'm on Medicare Senior Advantage.
I got mine with zero
But
cost
from
Wow.
Medicare or the VA?
from Medicare.
I'm gonna get $7,000 towards an electric wheelchair when I get one, and my electric wheelchair will likely cost. This is a very rough estimate, $25,000 to $35,000.
And that's Canadian because
Wow.
mine's going to cost 23,000.
Yeah, $7,000 once every 5 years.
Yeah. So it's similar.
Like
Well, you're saying,
that's just
Frank,
a
but it
base
means
that barely covers a manual wheelchair. Like that just covers a manual wheelchair with a good cushion and headrest and leg supports.
now
That's
how
what that
come
does.
you mean so are you just waiting to get it? It was like that
Well,
or you just
no, I just suddenly needed it because my neck and my shoulder and my arm were so awful. I couldn't walk anymore. That's why I'm
that's what's
trying that
happening with
taller
me.
rollator. Like I'm trying the one that I stand upright so that I'm not leaning forward into my shoulder because I've got some kind of pinched nerve or something and my right arm is so sore. So now that I've been using the chair, I barely have any pain. So it's totally from that. And then, like, when my arm is sore, then I'm leaning more. So then my legs are weak, and it's like a vicious cycle. So I use the chair more. But because I'm using the chair more, now my walking isn't very good. So I need to try to get walking more, which is why I have that type of rollator. But it's just everything. Like, and Karen, I just wanted to say to you that you have a lot of stuff going on, just like me, like a lot of things that are changing dramatically. And it may just be still at the same level of progression that we always were at, but it's reached a level where it's showing above the water. Bye, Jennifer. Bye bye. See you next time. And like, it's a lot that we're both
It's a lot.
managing. So you're allowed
It's a
to
lot.
feel a little bit overwhelmed and stuff, but take advantage of whoever is actually willing to kind of help you and get like keep things straight and be your advocate. Like you had someone that was being your advocate, didn't you? You had someone that you.
Well, I had that with the lift, like 5 months. I finally got over the 5 months of this stupid, lift thing. And then the following, literally, she called me on the 21st. And on the 22nd, in fact, when she asked for that down payment, it was the 21st because my friend who I had to be the advocate came over on the 22nd. And that's when Jose came out and made it, it's not squeak. There's also issues because there's a slant. So when I'm in my when I'm in my rollator, they had propped it up and it wasn't safe to go down there. Now I look out my window. There's no way around it. It's a slant. It just that's how the terrain is. So everything just requires a new adjustment. How do I put the key in the door? Where do I put this? How do I turn around? And all those little subtle
Today for
things.
me, it was how do I get my shoes, my boots on? Because it finally snowed here. And I could not get them on. I finally just stuck my feet out in front of me. My husband was waiting at the door, and I just said, "Can you just please help me? I can't even do it." Like, and then to get them off tonight was also terrible. It just sucks. Like these stupid things that suddenly you can't do.
Yeah. And I have I had therapy today, so I'm a little better because the therapy is to help deal with the emotional stuff, but I think I reported it, but I had asked for a social worker and so I had a great one and then she left. And then I had this one, she called me on August 30th. I've talked to her 4 times. She's completely useless. She just drove me back at the conveyor belt. So I want my therapist to talk to her just to go. I don't want her. I'm never going to talk to her again because she pulled the old card. I'm crying. I'm upset. I was crying because she told my doctor she couldn't see me. Then she called. She said, "Oh, I'm sorry." And then when I realized I was being scammed on that lift. So I was crying, but this is supposed to be a therapeutic relationship. I think it's my job, like my neurology nurse, she's heard everything from me, from like crying to whatever. It's her job, the neurology's job, to hold the space and try to get clarification about what is the thing I can do to help you. And she's always on it. So that social worker, that just threw me too. She just said to me, the last 2 times I talked to you, you were inappropriate. And I didn't think to say, you're talking about the last 2 times? You're bringing it up today about what happened the last 2 times? Like I was being scammed and I was told you weren't there. And then the time before that is like the week of October 7th when I'm like, I lived in Israel. I was a social worker there. And there's a whole like emotional thing that involved. It just was so big. It's so big for me because it was like, oh my God, the government failed. They didn't come back and hey, it's, oh my God, what they're going to do is even worse. Like, and it is worse than I could imagine. But, it's not inappropriate to be emotionally charged up. If you feel I'm off kilter, then it's your job to bring me back. So I'm glad I had therapy today. And I said, I want to talk about my feelings. I don't want to be talking about what happened with this person, or I'm angry about the cogs in the wheel that aren't working. It's more so it was, I feel, she was trying to reach out to the social worker. I said, I want her talked to. I want someone to do it. I want intervention. I don't want her. Maybe I can find someone else. The neurology nurse was asking about it. So I do feel like I'm being way less patient. And yeah,
But
and I
also
also
that
find,
you're taking action and like you're demanding what you want and what you'll put up with, right?
and it's, I just feel like more solution oriented than just to complain. And then in July 28th, I filed an ADA complaint with the city of Oakland about the pool because it's like you, Carmen, it's almost like a block and a half to walk to the pool from the parking lot. And you know how fun that is. So it's like I'm losing that capacity. They never got a lift, but I didn't want to use the lift chair. But I asked about the shower. I asked about it a year and a half ago. I asked about it, again in July 28th. And they put in a stupid chair right in front of the shower. You can't stand. There's no handrails to get to it. So I called some organization, and she said, the next thing you need to do is the Department of Justice. And you need to tell them you're going to do that. And so I called the city of Oakland, and then he said, okay, so this is what we're looking at. I didn't even bring up the lift. It's like part of the complaint. For 2 years, you haven't had access. And it's the geriatric pool. And I had written about the guy they designated to do everything, and his name is Justice. So I just said, I said, yeah, okay, I'm interested, but I'm going to do a follow-up to like July. We had a meeting. Okay, this didn't happen. That didn't happen. I'm really not looking for a fight. I'm going to have to just file a complaint with the Department of Justice. Speaking of justice, I already wrote to you that everything he suggested that you're designating, he was wrong. It's all egregious. So I feel like I'm tired. Like, why didn't you write? Because I was stuck. When you're stuck with the lift, or you're stuck with waiting for your wheelchair, or you're stuck with waiting for something, you can't galvanize your resources. So I did hear back from the ADA guy, and he said, okay, someone's going to look into it. At least there's movement. But
No
it's
kidding.
just so
Like
much.
no handicapped access shower of any kind?
Well, there was a toddler seat. There was a seat that was like about 12 inches off. So I wrote about it in July of
Unreal.
2022, knowing that I'm losing more and more function. And there's no lift. The lift hasn't worked in 2 years. Okay, it was COVID. Okay, it was this. So then, but I had already written about this Justice guy. He has a hope. I said, well, his hope did not pan out. And he was saying, well, if you have a problem with that parking lot, why don't you go to the parking lot that's like 8 stories above on a dirt path? Well, you could go to another pool. It's like, no, that is not how ADA works. So I'm glad I reached out to that organization, and she told me how to do it. And I guess it was enough to say Department of Justice. And I did have fun with speaking of justice. So yeah, for everything that's hard, it feels good to at least have some momentum.
But it also takes so much energy to have to fight all these battles too, right, Karen?
Yeah. I mean, I still can't get back to the MS Society. I went writing to the nurse, but I don't have a portal. And I gave her a break because she's really great, the neuro nurse. But I'm sorry, Frank, this idiot at the MS Society, because, she doesn't even have her information. I didn't even know it was called the NMSS. Like, when you have MS, like which MS society were we talking about anyway? The national, the multiple, just you should have your logo and everything on there. And I got your extension here, I got the phone number here. And I wrote to the nurse and I said, I guess she doesn't know about HIPAA. Like, oh, and then have your doctor's office fax to us. To who? Like fax a number? The doctor's office is just gonna fax
Your
something off
records.
to a number. Yeah.
If you tell them to and sign something, they'll do it. But good God, where it might go.
Well, you have to yeah, that's right. We don't even know what that number is. And she doesn't even have. So I took a little break today from the nurse. I talked to her yesterday and I thought, okay, let's just, she's really good at getting back to me on this, but you have to constantly assess what's broken, what's wrong, what could be moved, what levers can't be moved. Yeah, there's no handrails to get to that shower stall. And the shower stall was installed like right in front of the shower. So you can't, I think it was installed backwards. But I don't know. I'm not an architect. I have to say that. I'm not an architect. You would think there's an ADA committee. Two of them are in wheelchairs and one went to school. She's really good, the one that came out to see there's a problem. But then it was like, well, Karen only complained about the seat height. So we fixed that and put a bigger seat in. And now you can't even get to the shower.
Well, fingers crossed that some action gets taken and somebody actually like fixes some things up. Good grief.
It's exhausting.
I filled
Yeah,
out a
but when,
survey for my neurologist office in Des Moines because, they're all survey happy. And I told them all the issues they had. Like, they don't have the push, the automatic doors where you push the button to open up the doors to once you leave the doctor's office to get back into the neurology lobby. So a good portion of their patients can't open up the door because they're using a walker or a cane or something or a wheelchair. And these other things that were just totally bass backwards. And I actually put my name and phone number and I said, call me. Not a word. No one ever got back
go
to me.
somewhere else. You could just go somewhere else, Kim, if you don't like it. That's the,
There's no other MS neurology specialist in
no,
Iowa.
no, I know. I mean, I'm just saying that's sort of the attitude is just go someplace else.
I was talking to my friend today. She goes to the same place I do. And she had written a note on their portal and no one ever got back to her. No one ever responded. And it's just, I feel the frustration that like everyone's having. And I really feel that since COVID, I mean, everything, medical has been broken for a long time, but
Right, but
COVID
it's
kind
worse.
of
Yeah.
just broke it all open. And then everyone was so burned out in healthcare. And so.
And they're just tightening the screws like all over, like my doctor's, she wants to quit. She's fed up. Yeah, it's just so, in Minneapolis, the doctors have been on strike and then everybody's, all the healthcare people stood, that would happen to me when I worked in the hospital. They're like, well, you can handle this. And then it's like, well, since you can handle it, we'll throw on more crap.
I guess the MS doctor was saying he was trying to petition the CEO to give them another nurse because I think there's like one nurse for like 18 doctors or something.
Oh, so it's a private practice and they have a CEO?
Well, it's a private hospital. It's not
It's at the hospital. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, at least they know that because I keep telling my doctor, she doesn't even know. And I saw the doctors that went on strike, I think in Minneapolis, but it's somewhere in the Midwest, as somebody said, oh, people from New York and California think Chicago's a black hole in the middle of the country. It's like, it's not, but somewhere in the Midwest, and I think it was Minneapolis, the doctors went on strike, but then they're like, yeah, so they're asking, but they don't even know. It's amazing. They're not asking for nursing support. They just said, we need more administrative support. Like they don't even know. I tell my doctor and her mind blows that you need a nurse. You need nursing support. Or in my case of my neurology department, there is a nurse, but there's also 3 pharmacists. So I can at least talk to a pharmacist when I get a weird thing from the main pharmacy that says, well, we don't have this, call us in a week. Or, you should cut back on your B12. Oh, like, oh, what do you mean cut back? So at least I have direct access to the neurology department. And I mean, I think Rick is right. It is good to belong to a designated MS comprehensive center. But in my case, my doctor she went to UCSF and she has contacts there. And her mother had MS, and she's the head of the MS in the whole of Northern California, Kaiser. And I was referred to a couple other people, and she said, you won't like them. She didn't want me to go to them. So I feel like I'm getting what I could get, considering.
And it's just it's so frustrating, and I don't know how to fix the problem. I don't know how to make the problem better, but it just seems like it's just less and less people
Well,
to run it, and it's just
and
really
the
frustrating.
CEOs, they make more money the less they provide. Well,
So
I read the book, Elizabeth Rosenthal. I forgot what the book is now, about healthcare, the demise, and it started in 84 or 86 when I got into the healthcare, and I could so clearly see it.
I really noticed it in 07 and 08 when the economic downturn, because they did skeleton crews and they didn't go back, at least in pharmacy. And now pharmacists, like in retail, there's just one pharmacist all day, no help, nothing, maybe a tech or two. That's it, running the whole pharmacy. My friend sent me a picture today because he lives in Portland. The Walgreens that closed down is now a church.
Oh yeah, Walgreens is closing down all over the place.
Uh-oh.
A church.
It's a church. He sent me a picture. It's now a church. Church with a drive-through.
When I was in Florida, my cousin took me to a church. I couldn't stay. It was one of those mega churches in the Boynton Beach Mall, and Boynton Beach is like very working class, and it's in a mall. Yeah, let's have a church. And the whole church thing was, you know what? If you give us your money, let me tell you something, you'll feel so much better. I mean, they weren't even like calling upon God. I mean, I wouldn't even be offended if they're saying Jesus, but they were just saying, you could buy yourself another thing, but if you give us the money, we'll be so much happier.
We got to figure out something to do with the malls.
Yeah, the church.
Yeah.
Is there anything else anyone want to talk about before we wrap up tonight? Our meeting again happens in 2 weeks on January 23rd.
Awesome. It's late. Good night, all.
Night. Thanks everybody for coming tonight. We had quite the group, and man, everyone participated, and we had a wide variety of topics tonight. You're all over the board.
Frank has his work cut out for him, I think.
He does.
I piece of cake,
Awesome.
piece of cake.
I'm always
Well,
impressed
everyone.
when people can take all that chaos and go, okay, here's what happened. It's like, that is what happened. That's amazing.
Well, I hope you guys have a wonderful next 2 weeks, and I hope to see you then. And let us know if you need anything between now and then, okay?
I'm trying to say
Thanks,
goodbye.
Kim. You too.
Yep. Welcome.
Go,
Bye. Good
go
night.
Chiefs.
Oh, jeez.
Push
Good
the
luck,
button.
Karen.
You too.